We'll start out with Colossians chapter 3, as we always do. Are there any statements, any comments anyone want to make this day? Before we get started? All right. There are no statements, no comments. I'm going to turn to Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to Abba Yahweh by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai. So we give him all praises to the Father. We thank him for the things that he has done for us. And in the prayer we recited Exodus chapter 20, 1 through 3, and then 4 through 6. And you notice in there he says, we shall not build any other idols, any other gods. You know, and when you read that, when you go back to Exodus 20, and you look at verse 4, it says, verse 3, it says, thou shalt not have no other gods before me. That's serious. It says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Most High, thy power, Yahweh, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. This is what's going on today. We have our people suffering because they are hating on the Most High. And in Christianity, they think everything's okay by having some idols, you know, false images. They think there ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, but the Most High is not with it. He don't want us to serve any other gods. No false idols. He don't want to see any of that. It's not okay. So what we got to do is search the scriptures. Now, what we're going to do is go through the scriptures, and I'm going to show you how we still are falling short, our people. Let's go to, and I'm going to show you sorcerers and divinations. So I want to go to Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 16. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 16. And the Most High, HaMashiach Yahushai, said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be amongst them, and will forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with thee. How are they going to break this covenant? Following these other gods. This is to go a whoring. They're going to seek these other gods, and that's what our people have done. They seek these other gods of all these heathens. These gods are all in this land now. In this place called, the wonderful place called America, which is Babylon. Verse 17, then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them. So they will say in that day, are not those evils come upon us? Because our power is not amongst us. Now, this was the first law that we broke. This was the first law. Do y'all understand when he says he will hide his face? Do y'all know what that means when he says he will hide his face? It's not like he just don't want to deal with us no more and nothing happens. You know, like you do a friend, you just turn your back to him and that's it. No, when the Most High hides his face, you run. You're in trouble. Destruction is coming. When he turns his back, that means Satan is a loose on the earth. He's like in fury, like a whirlwind. That's Satan. Let's go to Psalms 104, verse 29. Psalms 104, verse 29. And it reads, thou hidest thy face, they are troubled. Thou takest away their breath, they die, and return to the dust. The Most High, Mashiach Yahushai says, when he turns his back, you're doomed. So don't take that lightly when you read Deuteronomy 31, 16 and 17. When he said that, you're doomed when he hides his face. You don't want him to hide his face. That's what he's been doing to us when we was in captivity. He hid his face from us. He hid his face. But now we're trying to get him to turn back to us. He said he'll turn to us if we turn to him. Remember? That means turn. He got to turn. Right? When you read Revelation chapter 1, John the Revelator said, and he turned and he saw who? Yahushua, Mashiach. He turned. So the Most High has to turn to see us. Deuteronomy chapter, let's go to Exodus. Back to Exodus. Let's go to Exodus 22, and let's read verse 18. Exodus 22, verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Now these witches are also sorcerers. These are priests of witchcraft. Okay? These witches. And these witches were in Egypt. And guess what? Our people followed a lot of the witches in Egypt. Our people was doing some wickedness in Egypt and Babylon. All right? Verse 18 again. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So we can't do that. Let's go to 2 Kings 23. The book of 2 Kings. So these witches were held in low prestige. The Most High didn't want us to even deal with them. If he said he don't want them to live, if you seek after these witches, guess what? You're going to be doomed too. 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 24. Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits, and the wizards, and the images, and the idols, and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and Jerusalem, did Hosea put away, that he might perform the words of the law, which were written in the book of Hilkiah, the priest, found in the house of the Most High by Shem HaMashiach Yahushua. So he said he put away what? The familiar spirits, the wizards, the images, the idols. I thought the images and the idols were the same thing. See, that's what you tell your pastors in these wicked churches. Ask them, are images and idols the same thing? They're two different things. And all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah. See that? All these abominations was in our land, just like today. Same thing. You go in these churches and you see Caesar Borgia all over the windows. You see idols of angels. There's angels everywhere. What they doing with angels up? They ain't supposed to be praying to angels. You don't need to put angels up. Angels don't even want to be worshipped. Why are you putting angels up in your churches? To make it holier than thou? You don't need to put angels up in your churches. See, our people, they just run towards him because something looks pretty. They put it up. But the Most High is not dealing with that. He ain't dealing with that. Our people fall short. Let's go to the book of Micah. Book of Micah, chapter 5 and verse 12. Micah 5 and 12. And it reads, and I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. That's what you see when you turn on TV. Remember Cleo? People used to call Cleo for advice. A sorcerer. It's the same thing with the stuff that you see on TV. They have these commercials where you call. Same thing. Number of sorcerers. Sorcerers. And they have shops. They have stores. They have everything. They have the same stuff. Verse Micah 5 and 12 again. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. Your cell phone can have some soothsayers in it. All those pop-up ads, they get you every time. That's the easiest way to enter someone's mind is through the eyes. They get you every time. The more visuals you have, the more you falling into that witchcraft. You know, people think it's innocent today. It's not innocent. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 31. Leviticus chapter 19 and 31. It says, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Most High thy power, Yahweh. He said, don't even seek after wizards. Okay? You see that on the Disney Channel. Some of these kids, some of these children who watch the Disney Channel, they got all these different wizards and stuff, and warlocks and charmers, you know? And they fall into it. Episode after episode after episode. They just soothsaying your child over. The Lord of the Rings. People think that's an innocent movie. That's all about wizards. Little children, even adults, have dreams about that. I had a dream when I watched it. You know, dude sticking a sword in one of the thing's heads. I had a dream about a monster like that in my dream. I'm trying to kill it. You know what I'm saying? That stuff creeps into your minds when you watch it. You think it's innocent. You think it's entertaining, adventurous. But it's a form of sorcery. Now they got video games. Jason from Friday the 13th walk around, and these children are controlling the remote control to kill people in the video games. They done passed Call of Duty. They doing all kinds of stuff now. You know what I mean? Teaching these children how to be killers. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20, verse 6. Leviticus 20 and 6. And the soul that turneth after such as have familiar spirits, and after wizards, to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from among his people. So, yeah, there's wizards out there, but if you even seek them, the Most High said, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to cut you off just for seeking after them. Seeking after the games, these Ouija boards. Seeking after these things. Let's go to Isaiah 8th chapter. You know, everything's getting more so sophisticated. When you look at, I don't know how many of y'all seen Jumanji. Jumanji was first a board game. The first movie with Robin Williams, that was a board game at first. The second movie was a video game. So they're telling you in these video games that they have the power to possess people through these video games. It's even stronger than the board games. Okay? So we got to understand what we're dealing with, man. We're dealing with some high-level demons. High-level demons. High-level wizards. You know? A wizard is creates potions, and once that potion is on you, you can't see out of that potion. You're stuck. You don't think nothing's wrong. All these people are stuck on these potions. We're all potionized. Let's go to Isaiah 8. The book of Isaiah chapter 8, verse 19. Isaiah 8:19. And when they say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards, that people at the mutter, should not a people seek unto their God? For the living to the dead? We're supposed to search for the living, not the dead. All right? Our God is a God of the living, not a God of the dead. All right? Look at verse 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, is because there is no light in them. So they're not speaking to you about Hamashiach Yahushua. They're laughing about Hamashiach. They don't think he exists. You believe everything in that Bible? It's not true. First thing they say. It's all about the sin of divination. Sin of divination. Let's go to 1 Samuel 15-23. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Pray the Most High protect us through these wicked days. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Some wicked days we're in, Aquats. Going over the scriptures right here. This made me think about it. Protect your households. Pray the Most High watch over all y'all, man. Protect y'all, man. Protect y'all in y'all walkings and y'all going out, your going ins. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Protect you. Protect your minds when you're sleeping. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. It's crazy, man. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Mashiach Yahushua, he has also rejected thee from being king. So you don't want to be rejected by the Hamashiach Yahushua. We pray that the Most High continually sends angels from the right-hand side to protect us and keep the angels from the left-hand side away from us. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. All right? These are sins of divinations, man. Let's go to Daniel chapter 5. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you how some of these sorcerers, they fail, man. They fail miserably when they come up to a child of the Most High. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. All right? They fail miserably when they deal with us. Book of Daniel. Let's go to the book of Daniel chapter 5 and verse 7. Daniel chapter 5 verse 7. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And the king spoke and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of the gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then came in all the kings, wise men, but they could not read the writings, nor make known to the king the interpretations thereof. See that? So by Shema Mashiach Yahushua, man, he just dumped them down, man. Dumbed them down. Dumbed them down. Sorcerers, they don't know the truth. Only by Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Let's go to the book of Acts. I'm going to show you how Simon dealt with these demons in the land of Samaria. Look at this. In the land of Samaria, this is what he did. This is Acts chapter 8, and let's go to verse 9. Acts chapter 8, verse 9. Acts chapter 8, verse 9. But there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery. All right? So Simon was in Samaria using what? Sorcery. And bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was some great one. He was claiming to be something that he was not. This isn't one of the disciples. This is Simon the magician, to whom they all gave heed from the least to the greatest, saying, this man is the great power of the Most High. This is what they were saying. And to him they had regard, because that of long time he had bewitched them with sorcery. See that? He mesmerized them with sorceries. They were mesmerized. Wow! Look at what he did. Oh! You know, he pulled a rabbit out of the hat. Mesmerized them, bewitched them. And to him they had regard, because that a long time he had bewitched them with sorceries. But when they believed Philip preaching the things concerning the kingdom of the Most High and the name Hamashiach Yahushua, they were baptized. They were cleansed. The spell had been broken. All right? Both men and women. Then Simon himself believed also. Even his curse was broke. And when he was baptized, he continued with Philip and wandered, beholding the miracles and signs which were done. See that? So by Shema Mashiach Yahushua, go break that band of the curses. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. This is what we have to understand. These sorcerers are liars, man. They're liars. They're all on TV. Dr. Oz and all these liars, man. They just lie to us all day long. Let's go to Exodus. Aren't you tired of them lying to you? I'm tired of them lying to us. To me, to my family, to y'all. Book of Exodus chapter 4. Actually, let's go to Exodus chapter 7 first. Exodus chapter 22. It's even better. Exodus 22. Exodus chapter 22, and I'm going to read this again. Exodus 22 and 18. Exodus chapter 22, verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So Simon bewitched the people, but he repented. See that? That's in the New Testament. He had opportunity to repent. But if he stay in that life, guess what? Destruction. He's going to suffer. He's going to suffer. The Most High is against witchcraft. He's against blue ear. he's against Santa Dia. He's against that. This is what our people do. Instead of running to the Most High, they run to the demons. Our people got to wake up, smell the coffee, come up out of that, man. Now let's go to Exodus chapter 7. And who you see into that? Cubanos, Dominicans, Haitians, that voodoo, they into all of that stuff. You know? Exodus chapter 7, verse 6. Wherefore, say unto the children of Israel, I am the power, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm, and with great judgment. So he's going to put an end to all these Babylonian gods like he did our forefathers when they were in Egypt. Because our people, they were consumed then too. Verse 7. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God. And ye shall know that I am the power, your God, that bringeth you out under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will bring you in unto the land concerning the which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you for an inheritance. I am the power. And Moses spoke so unto the children of Israel, but they hearkened not unto Moses, for anguish of spirit and for cruel bondage. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, Go in, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he let the children of Israel go out of his hand, out of the land. And Moses spoke before the Lord, saying, Before the children of Israel have not hearkened unto me, how then shall Pharaoh hear me, who am of uncircumcised lips? So here's Moses. He said, if children of Israel won't listen to me, how's Pharaoh going to listen to me? So we got to get in order first. Our people got to get in order first. Let's go to the 4th chapter, Exodus 4 and verse 1. Exodus 4 and 1. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, The Most High hath not appeared unto you. And the Most High said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses fled from before it. See, the Most High ain't got to use much, man. Moses had the weapon in his hand the whole time. It was the rod. He said, look in your hand. I'm giving you the weapon. It's right there in your hand. You know, he looking for something great. Just like our people, we're looking for something great to happen. But we got the #1 weapon in our hand. We got this Bible. Moses wished he had this Bible in those days. Right? Actually, he did. He knew it. But that's what gave him power. So we got it too. So now we should have just as much power as Moses got. Once we come back to the understanding of who we are. Let's go to verse 4. Verse 3. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground. And it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Most High said unto Moses, this is the part they take out of the movie, the 10 Commandments. They put the snake, they put the rod in the movie, but this part they never put in the movies. Right? I'm about to read it, verse 4. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and became a rod in his hand. Now that's not the part, I'm going to get to it. That they may believe that the Lord thy power of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob hath appeared unto you. So that's a form of what? You may think that's witchcraft, but that's the Most High doing something. He's about to combat Pharaoh's sorcerers with his power, Moses, right? Because he had to win over the people. But when you look at verse 6, this is a part they never put in the movies. It says, And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thy hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand in his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. That's the key word. His hand was leprous as snow, meaning it was white. Okay? When it became diseased of leprosy. Read verse 7, it says, And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. What color was his other flesh? Black. Black. Moses looked like the Egyptians. He was dark, dark black. All right. Egypt was almost a cradle of civilization at one point. Okay. They got satellites looking down into Egypt right now, trying to find certain artifacts. They know, the scientists know, that that place is where everything started from. Look at all these gods that these people celebrate, all these demons that they worship, all these goddesses and gods, they all come from Egypt. Babylon took them from Egypt, Assyria took them from Egypt, and then the Chaldeans took them, and then the Edomites took them. They just went from one head to the next, to the next, to the next. And now they're all over America. Same God, same divination, same sorceries. Okay? And you watch, what's that movie that's out right now? The Black Panther. Where do you think they got that from? Egypt. Where do you think they got Spider-Man from? Egypt. All these different superheroes all come from Egypt. Right? Those are all Egyptian gods. Sorceries. A form of sorceries. Witchcraft. That's where it comes from. Well, our people, they so happy to see black people in the movies, you know, claiming to be from their true origins, when they don't understand that's why we went into captivity in the first place. Following stuff like that, man. Of course they want to make money off of this movie. Of course they do. They got all our people. I'm sure they're going to have all kinds of gods in this movie. I haven't seen it yet. But I'm sure I can at least see it with a guard over my face. But other people that are watching it, they're watching it and their eyes are wide open. Demons are just going right into their head. Our people are very foolish people, very simple-minded people. All right. So when we look at sorcery, let's see when it was abandoned. Let's see how sorcery got abandoned. Let's go to Numbers. The book of Numbers, chapter 24. The book of Numbers, chapter 24, verse 1. And when Balaam saw that it pleased the Most High to bless Israel, he went not as at other times to seek for enchantments, but he set his face toward the wilderness. So Balaam would normally seek for what? Enchantments. He didn't do it this time. He didn't seek for enchantments. So, you know, we got to check this out, man. Our people got to understand, our people hate this truth. Oh, man, our people hate this truth. And our conference call is tripping right now. I guess people can't get on, you know, so we're going to continue to get this word out. That's why I have to post these videos up, because they trip on these conference calls. Let's go to Isaiah 44. Esau controlled everything. He gives us the platform to learn things, but at the same time, he controls everything. This is Isaiah chapter 44, verse 25. Isaiah 44, verse 25. All right. It reads, that frustrateth the tokens of the liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backwards, and maketh their knowledge foolish. Yeah, that's what they're doing to our people, making our knowledge foolish. Making our knowledge foolish, man. Let's look at the fortune and destiny of Israel. Let's go to Isaiah 65. Isaiah 65. Isaiah chapter 65, verse 1. Let's read. Is it 1? Let's drop down to verse 11. Isaiah 65, verse 11. But ye are they that forsake the Lord, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, you did not answer. When I spoke, you did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighteth not. He said, don't go after these demons. Don't look at how people run into this movie. Are they not running to this movie to see it? That's all Esau got to do is dangle something in front of us and we just take off. I'm sure it's a good movie. I'm sure it is. I'm not going to sit up here and say it ain't. But Esau knows how to get us to go to these movies. He knows exactly what to do. He could bamboozle us right to the movie if he really wanted to. Put something in there, technology, some kind of technology that brainwashes us. He could do it. He would get the majority of the Negroes up in there. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 27. All of this is lies. The prophecies of Esau are all lies, man. You know? That's why this captivity is coming to an end. It's coming to an end. The Most High can't take too much more of it. Jeremiah chapter 27, verse 9. Therefore, hearken not ye to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. See that? For they prophesy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and you should perish. He said, look, they want to do that just so they can make you mad with me. That's what he's telling us. Verse 12. I speak also to Zedekiah, the king of Judah, according to all these words, saying, bring your necks under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and live. Why will you die, thou and thy people, by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, as the Most High has spoken against the nation that will not serve the king of Babylon? Therefore hearken not unto the words of the prophets that speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesy a lie unto you. For I have not sent them. So he's talking about our people. When we were supposed to go into captivity, there was nothing that could stop us from not going into captivity. Like I said, Kunta Kinte couldn't even run from captivity. He couldn't run, nor could anybody else. Amistad couldn't run from captivity, though he got away. He still went right back into captivity when he got to his land. Couldn't get away from captivity. That's what the Most High said. If I send a judgment, you can't run from it. If you seek the sorcerers, when that judgment comes, you're not going to be able to run from that judgment. The judgment will get you. It says, For I have not sent them, saith the Most High, yet they prophesy a lie in my name, that I might drive you out, and that ye might perish, you and the prophets that prophesy unto you. The Most High is going to destroy this place. And all our people who seek these magicians are going to die with them. Ezekiel 13, let's go there. Ezekiel 13 and 20. Ezekiel chapter 13. What I'm doing is giving you precepts, so you can always go back and look at these precepts regarding witchcraft. Ezekiel 13 and 20. Wherefore, thus saith the Most High thy power, Behold, I am against your pillows. Why you say pillows? Because this is where you have comfort. Wherewith ye there hunt the souls to make them fly, and will tear them from your arm, and will let the souls go, even the souls that you hunt to make them fly. Pillows is also another word for dreamers. Those who dream a lie. Those who prophesy a lie. Okay? So our people got to wake up. The Israelites, when they was in Egypt, they did so much wickedness. But we were a strong people when we were in Egypt, you know. Let's go to Leviticus 20 and 6. Leviticus 20 and 6. Leviticus 20 and 6. And the soul that turneth after such as have familiar spirits, and after wizards, to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from among his people. Sanctify yourselves, therefore, and be ye holy, for I am the Lord thy power. Us keeping the Sabbath day is a form of being holy. We are trying to be separate from all the evils of wickedness. All right? This is what we're trying to do. Did this change? No, it didn't change. Because you can read this and think, okay, in the New Testament, did it go away? No, let's look at what Yahushua said. Let's see. Yahushua said something regarding this, about these sorcerers. If you think you could get away with running to these sorcerers and believing some of these psychics and some of these science, technology type people, you want to believe what they say, this is what you're going to get. Matthew chapter 7, verse 21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? Then they're going to prophesy in the name of Jesus. That's not his name. His name is Hamashiach Yahushua. That's his Hebrew name. And in thy name have cast out devils. Right? Because some of these demons are going to try to cast out demons just so they can win you over. And in thy name done miracles or many wonderful works. All right? Verse 23. And when I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So he's saying, look, don't be joined into these idols. Don't be joined into these guys or to these sorcerers. He says, I'm going to say I never knew you. That's plain. That's in the New Testament. He's telling you, look, you want to deal with the witchcraft? You're going to die in the witchcraft. You are not forgiven for everything. Everybody think you are forgiven for everything. You are not forgiven for everything. You want to hang out with sorcerers? You're going to die as the sorcerer will. Okay? Matthew 13. Simon died. Simon didn't follow the disciples. He repented, but then he turned right back to wickedness and died. Called himself jumping off a building and flying and died. Died a horrible death. Matthew chapter 13, verse 41. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity. So he's going to gather all things which offend, like homosexuality, witchcraft. He gonna get those that offend. All these brothers out there hunting down their own people, slaughtering their own brothers. They're going to suffer for that. The Most High going to bring destruction for them. That's what we got to understand. The Most High is not playing with them. It says, look at verse 42. It says, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be a weighing and gnashing of teeth. See that? Verse 43. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. He said, look, you better hear what I'm saying. This is real. This is the real deal. This is going to be serious pain, like he said. He said, wailing and gnashing of teeth. They're going to be burnt in the fire. It's going to be painful. Serious pain. All right? These spiritual demons are possessing our people today. Let's go to Matthew chapter 8 and 27. Matthew 8 and 27. But the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? And when he was come to the other side in the country of the Gergesenes, there met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce. You look at some of these people, some of our people today, when they hunt down their brothers, how fierce they could be. They're out for blood. They're trying to cut off their arms. They're trying to cut off their heads. They come with the fierceness, but Yahushua is going to come with the fierceness. You know what I mean? When he returns. But these demons were fierce. You see that? So we have to understand that these demons were no joke. And it says, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, what have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before thy time? They knew that was their time, that it wasn't their time to go. So these demons are in the earth now, and they're heavy in the earth. They know what they got to do in this day and age. So people who are possessed with these demons are going to be tormented. Okay? They're going to be tormented, just like these demons. If these demons are going to be tormented, people are going to be tormented. And there was a good way off from them, and herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, if thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said unto them, go. And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled and went their ways into the city and told everything, and what was befallen to the possessed of the devil. See that? So that's what's going down, man. The Most High, Yahweh Shai, is going to torment these demons that torment us. That's what's coming to a theater near you. Let's go to Acts. The book of Acts. And let's go to the book of Acts chapter 19. And let's read verse 13. Acts chapter 19, verse 13. Then certain of the vagabond Jews, exorcists, took upon them to call over them, which had evil spirits, the name of Hamashiach Yahushai, saying, we adjure you by Hamashiach, whom Paul preacheth. And there were 7 sons of one Sceva, a Jew, and chief of the priests, which did so. And the evil spirit answered and said, Yahushua I know, and Paul I know, but who are you? And the man in whom the evil spirit was leaped on them, and overcame them, and prevailed against them, so that they fled out of that house naked and wounded. And this was known to all the Jews and Greeks also dwelling at Ephesus. And fear fell on them all, and the name of the Mashiach Yahushai was magnified. So what are we looking at? You know? When you look at our people, these demons are still on them. When you look at Ephraim, when you look at Manasseh, the Cubans, right? Simeon, the Dominicans, Zebulun, the Panamanians, Asher, the Colombians, Issachar, you know. The Most High says Ephraim, he said Ephraim had idols on him. He says, let him alone, right? That's what he said in Hosea 4 and 17. So a lot of the Spanish tribes got idols. Demons, man. They still worship certain demon holidays or festivals. You know, the Day of the Dead they worship. You know, Google some of these Spanish tribes and see what they celebrate. They celebrate all kinds of demons. You know, when you look at Ephesians 6 and 12, this is why the Most High said, put on the whole armor of God, man, that you may stand against the wiles of Satan. You wonder why some of the 10 tribes are not waking up. They're going to be the last ones to get this. They're going to be the last ones to get it. Don't worry, they're going to start waking up. Just a matter of time. It's at the Most High's time. But the Latin tribes got the worst of the idols on them. Okay, at this point. You can buy certain books, like there's a book that I got called The Secret World of Cults. It's written by Sarah Moraine. Sarah Moraine, The Secret World of Cults. You know, when you go in that book, there's a chapter called Magic and Murder. Okay? In that book, it's talking about the Ku Klux Klan. Ku Klux Klan, in that particular chapter, is showing you how they worship demons. Every time they kill a Negro or Latino or American Indian, they sent up their prayers to these demons. That's how you know they're not of the Lord. They're demons. Ku Klux Klan. You know? All these places that we know of here in America got demonic activity. You know, even when you look at places like overseas, like in Paris. In Paris, they found the secret place in Paris. It was like a temple or something. It was full of skulls in a room. You know, what was that place for? Sacrifices. You look in London. In London, they had there was a picture of Prince Charles. He was standing on a whole floor of skulls. Why was he doing that? And it was like a pentagram. You know, demonic, man. In these colleges, these fraternities, you know, they recite these prayers to the dead. You know, you go to UC Berkeley, they got a temple with a clock on top of it with a bell up under it. You got all these Indian bones all up under it. You know, if you go down to the basement. That's why I say, man, leave all this stuff alone, man. This stuff is riddled with demons. And the Most High is going to bring judgment on this place. It's just a matter of time. So we just got to stick to these words, man. Stick to our rod. This is our rod. That's why I said, what was that? Psalms 23? Let's go there real quick. That's why he said what he said in this chapter. Y'all should know this prayer. Psalms 23:1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yes, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, which is Babylon, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. This is our rod and our staff like what Moses had. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Remember that. And I will dwell in the house of the Most High by Hashem Mashiach El Shai forever. That's what the Most High promised us. You have to hold the Most High to his promises if you want to get out of something. All right? Own up to it. Okay? That's the end of the conference call, Akim. I just wanted to touch on that because I felt the need to bring that out tonight. You know, it was needed. So a lot of times we got to revisit some of these classes we may have had years ago just to strengthen ourselves and not to be forgetful. Okay? Are there any comments, any statements, any questions, any current events anyone want to bring out today?
Shalom and Shabbat Shalom, everybody on the conference call. I just wanted to ask, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead, Al.
Okay. Con, I was just wondering to bring out a couple more situations that's kind of like subtle, but yet they are definitely in the witchcraft. I mean, and one of them is like the horoscope. We all know that. That's kind of like got into us when we were in captivity early on, and where we started to associate with the zodiac signs and Gemini, and start remembering all the things about that certain zodiac sign. And a lot of people find it hard to let go, but that's like a form of witchcraft. And you also, these magicians that are out there, it seems like at any given time, there's some great musician, not a musician, but a magician that's upon the earth. Remember this guy, David Blaine?
Oh, absolutely.
And now they got this new guy out because David Blaine, one thing about him, he shows his magic, and others, when they see it, they can't understand it. They have to reason within their mind that he is definitely being, someone else is doing that, some spirit is doing those things, because no other way is possible.
Right.
And then he even is so fearful of his life because now he's miserable. He even said in an interview, you know, when he asked, he said, why are you looking so strange and so down? And he raised up his hand and had an eye in his hand.
Yeah, an eye in his hand.
Because he'll watch. He had an eye in his hand. He just opened it real quick, and you could see the eye, and then he closed it back and said, "Because they're watching me." And he fears for his life.
Wow.
Because now he's gotten the exchange of fame, like one of the scriptures you brought out, where in the New Testament you brought that part out when he thought people will look at him like he's a great man and so forth. But it's an exchange for all that stuff. But people get caught up in that, you know, and I used to as well. I mean, and so those are just subtle ways. And the other one was that we get drawn up into those things are soothsayers, and those you even brought it out in a lot of scriptures from the Tanakh when you was talking about the Torah, when you were speaking about how the familiar spirit, because there's so many people that have been in our captivity, our people who've been brainwashed by this craziness, that we feel that the person still can be in touch with someone, and these familiar spirits can go and they can act on a person who is supposed to be the seance person, whatever you call them, and they actually are hearing truth. They're hearing what so that person knows about it. And so the person who's going to them saying, "Hey, tell us if our grandmama is all right." And then they'll say, "Well, your grandmama said, remember that red wagon she got you when you was 4 years old?" And I was, "Oh man, it's got to be real." Yeah, it's a familiar spirit. They know because they've been around it, so they can keep it. But those are subtle ways that witchcraft gets people to believe that, hey, and why that's so controversial to the Most High is because then you put other gods before him, like you started off by saying with the scriptures. And that's the biggest fallacy of going with this witchcraft, because you automatically divert and you start looking to those things for answers. Those things, whether it's zodiac, whether it's a soothsayer, whether it's a magician, you look to them versus the Most High. So basically, in essence, you're idol worshiping, and you're right back into the trap, into the snare. So I just want to share that. And there's some other scriptures that you know the scriptures are full of them. Look to that one where I can't remember which guy that was. He went to
Lord of hosts, I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.